Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. This presentation is on the EIV-Small Office IP phone solution. The EIV-Small Office solution is basically a peer-to-peer solution which does not require a central PABX or server as a central operating point in the customer's office. The phones are what they call a peer-to-peer solution, so each phone is individually talking to all other phones across the network. We can have the phones configured up to 16 in an office, and we can have up to 4 voice over IP lines configured through to them. The EIV-Small Office is very much a plug-and-play type solution, in respect that once the first main phone has been programmed and set up and deployed onto the customer site, the customer can expand, or the technician can expand, the voice over IP solution by simply plugging in another brand new phone straight out of the box into the customer's network, whereupon that phone will start up, check across the network, identify that there are other E phones there, and then sequentially add itself as the next extension in the solution and copy all the settings across from the other phones that are already on the customer site. The feature set on the EIV-Small Office are very functional, offering all the fundamentals of a PABX, as well as having the option of a DSS display for extension status, etc. The EIV-Small Office is designed to work across the customer's LAN, and all phones are to be in the LAN environment. Fundamentally, as you can see from this diagram, all the phones are connected and talking to each other across the customer's network. They are sitting behind the customer's router, and they work behind what we call behind the NAT, okay, and use SIP registration to go through to the ITSP. No special programming needs to be done on the customer's router. No ports need to be opened. If we compare the EIV-Small Office to a traditional IP PABX, each of the traditional IP PABX extensions need to go through the SIP server that is on site before it can be transferred or can communicate to another phone. Whereas the EIV does not have to go through any server whatsoever. It simply is communicating to each other. This makes a very robust solution, and the only traffic that you actually get out through to your ITSP is the actual line traffic of the 4 external lines, which so is also quite frugal on the bandwidth when you are using voice over IP across a network. As the EIV-Small Office is what we call a peer-to-peer and doesn't use a central KSU, the deployment costs of the EIV are very flat. So basically all the customer is paying for is the cost of each phone. There is no additional equipment needed in a central IP PBX or even a soft switch, and no licensing is needed either. As the customer grows, they simply add another phone. From the dealer distributor perspective, it makes it quite an easy phone to manage, because once the phone is installed, if the customer decides 2 months later, well, I want an extra phone, they simply take a phone straight out of stock off the shelf, can literally courier it straight out to the customer if the customer is quite happy to plug it into their network, and when the customer does, the phone will automatically fire up and connect to the network and seek out information from the existing EIV-Small Office phones that are already installed. The EIV-Small Office phones are quite a functional option. They have a large display, soft keys, etc., along with line keys, function keys, headset options, etc., as well as a DSS module, 22 button. The phones are RFC 3261 SIP compliant. They are very much an intelligent install, plug and play. Once one phone is programmed, the rest can simply be plugged in and they will copy all the programming across. Each phone has a 2-port Ethernet switch on the back, so it can be plugged in line with the customer's desktop. The PoE is standard on all phones, or there is a power pack option if you so wish. We have 4 soft keys which drive the menu options, etc. as the phone operates. With a navigation key with an enter key in there, volume up and down key for the handset and the hands-free, etc. Multi-line appearance, all of 4 lines are displayed on the telephones and they are actually giving status of whether they are ringing, they are on hold or busy. We have call transfer, call hold, redial, 3-way conferencing, mute, headset port, phone book, message waiting indicator, voicemail all on board each phone along with a message light and key, full hands-free speakerphone and an external module optional for an operator situation, or if simply the users just want to see what each other are doing, and you can put them on every phone. There is no limitation on this. The DSS module, or EDM, external display module, can be programmed to have various functions on it. For example, your busy lamp fields, so you can see where their extensions on hook, off hook, ringing, etc. You can use it for a single button transfer for transferring calls. Other options you can use the keys for are one-touch speed dials. We can use them also for features such as blocking calls, locking the phone, etc., or abbreviated codes when you need to, if you're sitting on the back of a hosted type solution where you want to dial specific codes back into the ITPS network. Okay, hello everybody. What we're going to be doing here is having a quick overview of the EIV-Small office peer-to-peer phone. Now, as you can see, pretty much a standard looking phone here. We've got our large LCD display, soft keys here to control the menu that comes up on the phone when it's up and running. We have our controller and directional keys, enter key, dial pad. We have volume control for headset, handset and speakerphone. Message keys, transfer keys, conference keys, redial keys, etc., along with phone book, etc. These keys down here, lines 1 through to 4, they will come on and off as the lines are used and or ringing or on hold. We've got our speaker, hands-free key here, mute for muting the microphone on either the handset, hands-free or on the headset. We have our headset key here. Now, headset just plugs into the side of the phone here. Would recommend a noise cancelling headset for best performance, but it does not need an amplifier or anything. The phone comes fully amplified, ready to go. Actually, one of the nice functionalities of this phone is that if you wish to have a headset or anything like that and the phone rings, it doesn't matter what mode the phone's in, you don't have to switch it. It automatically will answer no matter what you do. For example, if you have a headset connected, you just pick up the handset if you wish to answer the call on the handset, or if you wish to answer it on the hands-free, just press the speaker key and it'll answer hands-free mode. Or if it's ringing and you want to answer with the headset, you press the headset key and it automatically will switch it through to the headset. Okay, if we roll the phone over, we can see that we have got the bracket here that we can set for various heights, etc., to get the best effect out of the phone, and the user can set it up the way they want. On the back here we've got our external power pack input. If we don't have a PoE switch, if we do have a PoE switch, we just plug it straight into the phone. The phone is dual mode, either power pack or PoE. We've got our in and out ports here, so we can mount the phone through for the desktop PC. I'm just going to roll the phone over on its other side here. Now this phone can be pretty much used as a standard phone, such as this, which is with all 4 lines, etc. Or each phone also has got an optional DSS module that we can plug in. Here's the socket and mounting clips here. And I'll just put the phone down this is the DSS module. It is a 22 button DSS, and it just simply mounts into the side, slots in, locks in like so. There's two screw holes there to put two screws in there, so that really mounts in good and solid. Okay, and now the phone is a fully functional key phone in respect that we have the 4-line keys here, we have DSS keys down here for our extension indications, so they'll come on for the extension when the extension is busy, ringing. We can just do a one-touch transfer or one-touch just to ring. Any other spare keys you have can be used for one-touch speed dials and or functions. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly fire the phone up, and you can see it start up. Plug the PoE lead into there, so with the network, and the phone starts up. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is that the phone will come up, and I'll just press there, and its first thing it's doing is saying it's configuring. So it's sitting there looking at the network, and now it's looking, you can see a DHCP. By default, this is a phone directly out of the box, so nothing has been programmed on it, so it's looking for the DHCP, and it's getting an IP. It's got an IP now, and you can see now it's coming up synchronized, please wait. So what it's now doing is looking across the network and saying, are there any other E-phones there? Am I the first, or am I just in line through with other phones? Now, because this phone has had a look across the network, it can't find any other phone, so it will automatically say, I'm extension 200. Okay, if I had another phone and I plugged it into the same network, it would do the same startup sequence, but it would find the first phone, recognize that it's extension 200, allocate itself extension 201, and copy all the settings across to the second phone. Now, this is the phone all operating and working. You'll notice that it has got a backlit display. By default, it's only been told to stay on for 10 seconds. That is programmable, and you can have it on continuously if you so wish. Helps the customer see what's happening on the phone, but if they find it distracting, it'll only turn on when the phone is active. As you can see, we have our menu keys here, forward key for call forwarding, D&D key, enabled, disabled, and extension information about the phone, if it's got a DDI and the status of it. Okay. Line status of the lines are down here. Now they match up with these 4 keys that are down here. These are the 4 SIP trunk keys. Now they're on solid right now because they are not registered. As I stated, this phone is straight out of the box, hasn't had any programming done to it whatsoever. We can see that the DSS module is also active, and these can be set up for various extensions and or features, which are again totally programmable by the customer and or technician as needed. Okay, so that's all we're going to have a look at from this perspective. Later on we'll be going through a user presentation and also a technical presentation for the technicians. Thank you. Feature set of the EIV is a good solid solution. Basically you have the configuration is the 4 SIP trunk, 16 extensions, very much plug and play, dynamic IP, peer discovery, peer-to-peer infrastructure. The administration side, the customer can administer their own system, or it can be remoted in from an external source if necessary, because it is fully browser-based programming. Call features, as you can see if you look down the list, it's a relatively good all-round call set features. Some of the highlights I would point out to you that perhaps are a little bit more unusual for your voice over IP solution is your paging. We have actual paging across the all phones, the paging group, and if someone pages, someone can go up to a phone and actually answer that page if they so wish. The busy length field, that is quite a unique really for the EIV-Small office on a voice over IP solution, so it gives full DSS indication of what is happening. So even if the operator just wants to have the DSS on their phone, this is gives them the full, literally a PABX type functionality, so they can see what is happening across their entire network. The voicemail side, each phone has its own personal voicemail, and the customer can play their own personal greeting. They can skip, delete the messages. They can pick up the messages from the auto attendant or their DDI number, set up a password change, etc. And the audio message is stored in the actual IP phone. Just also want to point out, go back to, sorry, skip back one slide there. Head back to the direct-in dialing. Each phone can have its own DDI number, so not only do we have a pilot number with, say, a group of 4 lines hunting. If the customer wishes this, they can also have the individual DDI number to each phone, which can go off to their voicemail. We have basic auto attendant. Now we have a day and a night greeting, and this basically enables people to ring up and dial individual extensions if they wish. Each phone is security password with either admin password and user passwords. So again, this is just a example of a single site with an EIV phone solution on it. So we have the internet and data coming down through to your modem. It can be ADSL if necessary, through to fiber. You have an IP sharing router, e.g. DHCP, and then the phones are connected to the router, have their own IP addresses. Now just a couple of points about this. What I'd point out, one, the SIP registrations for the each phone is controlled by what they call a master phone, and as the rule, the master phone is the first phone that is plugged in. It goes off to the ITSP and registers the SIP lines, etc. And then as the rest of the phones are plugged in, they in turn copy all the SIP registration information and all the program information across to themselves. So each phone is literally a duplicate of each other, so they've got a full set of programming in them. This is quite an important point, because if at any time the master phone is unplugged or removed, any of the other remaining phones will recognize, the master phone's gone, I will now take over that role, and then they'll automatically sort that out between themselves. If the second phone is taken out and there's only 2 left, they in turn will also take over control of the system. The point we're trying to make here, there is actually no one weak point in the solution. So if a phone is turned off, the rest of the phones keep working. The other suggestion I would make as well is, in this type of solution, I would like suggest that PoE be used, so a small PoE switch be used for the phones to feed off, and then you run a UPS on the router and on the PoE part of the switch, and then basically if there is a power cut, you will continue to have full operational phone system. The installation of the EIV-Small office is as simple or as difficult as you wish to make it. You can literally have the phone programmed up in your office with the SIP registrations and courier it out to the customer. They can plug it in and it'll work. Because the EIV runs behind the NAT and is a DHCP type setup, we could literally plug the EIV into pretty much any network, and it'll automatically start up and register and start working. Now, that is a general comment, I will say. If a particular network is set up in some way to stop that sort of deployment, you would have to do some extra settings. But the EIV is designed to fundamentally be a plug-and-play network. So you could send it directly out to the customer. So you could do your sale, fire it out to the customer and say, right, this is it, and this is how much it's going to cost. Put your SIP lines on it, and then if the customer requests to have a technician out there, you can actually send them out there and charge them on an hourly basis to do any alterations or any setups that the customer is having difficulty with. In turn, you could also have the technician go out and do the traditional install as well. The point we're trying to make is that it's totally flexible and up to how you want to do it. Again, what we are reiterating here is once the first phone is set up and plugged in, basically the installation is pretty much done, bar plugging in the rest of the phones and just doing a bit of training. Because the phones automatically detect each other and self-deploy, the phones just need to be plugged in the order that the customer wants them to be. For example, extension 200 is the first one plugged in. If Bob down the next office wants to be 201, well, he gets plugged in next. If the next one wants to be 202, they get plugged in next. And that's the order of the phones as they go in. Now, once they've been plugged in and they've been allocated their extension number and they've copied all their programming across from the other phones, if you unplug them and plug them back in, they will remember that they're extension 201 or 202 or 203. So there's no of the phones running and forgetting who they were, unless for some reason you deliberately reset the memory on the phone. Incoming call options. Generally, if you're run through the incoming call options, outgoing is pretty straightforward. You dial the extension number or you dial the phone number. There's no dialing access codes or anything, you simply just dial it and out you go. But incoming call, you need to be aware of how this is going to work. So we can have all phones ringing. We can have individual phones ringing, like the operator, for example, and they can ring per SIP line. We can have an auto attendant that's going to ring, or we can have the main pilot, then each phone having its own DDI directed to each individual phone. Now, and then in turn going to voicemail. Also, we have call forwarding options to either voicemail, so we can go to the individual's extension's voicemail or the operator phone's voicemail box, or of course we can actually call forward through to cell phones or answer services or other numbers. Now the ePhone uses a SIP refer method for call forwarding, so essentially what that means is that once the call comes in and it's either call forward all or call forward no answer or call forward busy, it'll do a SIP refer to forward the call off. That means it's not actually going through the EIV system. It transfers it off the system back into the ITSP network and leaves the EIV lines free for more calls to come in. We're going to go through in detail on how the phones ring in and just give you some working examples, but just need to touch base a little bit about the auto attendant. The auto attendant has got day greeting and a night greeting. It has auto day-night switching as an option. Allows the individual extensions to be dialed. Okay, so what that's basically saying is you can dial an extension number, but there is no single-digit dial. And the call forwarding options go to voicemail, the personal voicemail, or to the operator. And of course, it can also be forwarded externally to a cell phone if you so wish. The personal voicemail. Each EIV-Small office phone has its own personal voicemail. The user can record their own greeting, e.g. thanks for calling Steve, unfortunately not here at the moment. If you'd like to leave your name and number after the tone, I'll return your call as soon as possible. Beep, and then the person records. The user can listen to their messages, delete the messages. They can pick up their messages from their phone or access the voicemail from an external location if they've got their own DDI or they've got the AA turned on the system. And the message wait indication, a number of messages received will be displayed on the phone. Some of the general features of the EIV. Each EIV-Small office can set up a three-way conference call, or it's got an all paging group, so allows an extension to page all phones. The page can be made and then anyone can actually pick up that page from any of the EIV phones. So when the page is made and I'm talking through and you can hear all of my voice coming through all the phones, there's actually a soft key that comes up on the EIV phone, and if I press that I can actually answer it and we'll be connected together and talking with each other. It's quite a good unique feature for the EIV phone. We've also got a single page where the individual phones can be paged, the paging set up and mute also two-way speech if you so wish, so I can actually page into a phone and have that phone so that I'm either just coming through and I can't hear what's happening in the room, or I can actually turn on the microphone so that people can answer me back. Totally programmable. We can name the extensions. It's got multi-language displays. We've got automatic day, night service based on 24-hour clock. We have personal speed dials of 60 and public book of 140 numbers. Now finally, we just want to go through the incoming calls because we need to understand some of the rules here. All calls answered by the operator. So essentially all the calls are answered by the operator, and the extension could press the flashing line keys. So we'd have an incoming number here. This main phone is ringing. On all the other phones, we've got the line keys will be flashing, indicating if there is a call coming in, and if they hear the operator ringing, they can press the line key and then they will answer the call. Okay? If the call is not answered, it will be directed to the operator's mailbox or no answer. Okay, and this forward timer is flexible. Okay, the caller will hear the operator's greeting, saying that thanks for calling, we are not available right now, please leave a message and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Beep, and they leave a message. Okay. Next option is option 2, all calls ringing. Now this is the default setting of the system. Now, so on incoming calls, every single phone will ring, and basically anyone can pick it up and answer it. Calls that are not answered within 60 seconds, and this is a fixed timer, can be rerouted to the operator's mailbox, and they will hear the operator's mailbox message, and they can leave a message. We've got auto attendant. So auto attendant basically calls come into the operator greeting, and it is only one greeting, and for the day, and one greeting for the night, and basically says, hi, thanks for calling XYZ company. If you want Bob, dial 201. If you want Steve, dial 202. If you want Harry, dial 205. Otherwise dial 0 for the operator. If any of the extensions that are there don't have a call forward set on their phone, the system will actually come back and if they don't answer, with a secondary option, say star to try the ringing extension again, or hash to leave a message, or it'll just forward through to their mailbox or external if they so wish, or 0 to the operator. Okay, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much.